Yeah, just very briefly, thanks everyone for being here today. Obviously, it's with great excitement that we're able to announce Damien as our new head coach of our men's senior team. Obviously, Damien's calibre as a coach goes without saying. He's experienced the game at the very highest levels possible in the world in global football, and we're obviously delighted to have him on board in what is a very exciting chapter of our club's journey. And yeah, really excited to get him involved with our men's senior team next year and work closely with him. So I think with that, I might just hand over to Gav and I suppose open it up to questions.
Yeah, maybe just in interest of cleanliness, just raise hands for questions and stuff. Let's go first. Yeah, Tony.
Damien, congratulations.
Thank you.
Why now? Why Shelbourne?
Well, I was obviously at the club already. Obviously, after coming back home after Celtic, Tony, getting involved with the Irish gig, but I just want to be on the grass every day to keep improving as a coach, keep learning, keep trying new things. And they're probably the only club that welcome me with open arms. They've let me get on with my thing for 18 months, and yeah, so I'm there. I've enjoyed it. It's probably not great that there's traffic back in the M50. It was great during COVID. I'd be there in 20 minutes, but otherwise, they've looked after me from day one. And listen, they've asked me last week, a lot of soul searching probably. I was humming and hawing. It's obviously in the media already that I said no on Friday. But I think over the weekend, after speaking to Alan, Doc and Andrew Doyle, they wanted me to reconsider. And it was just soul searching with me. Where do I want to go with my life? Probably midlife crisis. You know, people have been telling me, you know, you need to start coming up with a plan. I'm obviously back home 18 months, and I didn't have a plan. Absolutely didn't. All I know is I love football. I love coaching. I love helping and improving players. So, similar to when I said I think on RT that I'd be unhappy with myself if I stayed. With this, I'd be unhappy with myself if I said no and turned it down. And it's as simple as that.
But why did you say no initially?
Why did I say no? Probably because I was in the south of France drinking red wine. I was on my holidays. Listen, there was two reasons. One, I like to be able to, I like my life. I like to go away with the kids and, you know, just have my own time. So that was one. And secondly was, you know, it's totally out of comfort zone stuff. And am I scared? Absolutely, yeah. Do I feel uncomfortable? Absolutely. But I've been preaching to kids since day one, my own two kids, 15s at Rovers, 17s at Shells, about showing personality, about showing courage, which they can lack at times. And for me to say no on Friday, I was lacking courage, I was lacking personality. So over the weekend, as I said, I didn't have to speak to anyone. Of course, the board told me to ask me to reconsider, and I did, and that was just soul searching. That's why I said no, for them two reasons alone. Like me holidays, and I was fearful of what I was getting into. But like I said, I can't preach to kids or coach the kids, whether it be men, women or child, and then turn it down. So that's why I'm here.
And what's the ambition for next season in the Premier Division?
Listen, my ambitions are sky high, but if we're realistic, where Shells are at, they've been yo-yoing for a couple of years. For me, they're a sleeping giant, but they have to stay in the league. Listen, the board have been amazing with me. They've assured me, worst case, even if we went down, but Damien Duff is building something special here. It's all fine. So first and foremost, that's what we have to do, because it's been up and down, absolute sleeping giant. Believe it or not, it's not because I'm here. You know, the Shells logo everywhere. It's a special place, Tolka Park, in my life, because of the days that I had with Brian Kerr there. So even walking on the pitch a couple of weeks ago with my team for a semi-final against Galway, it brought it all rushing back. So yeah, like, I'm emotional. That tugs at my heartstrings. It didn't help, I have to say, when my son Woody walked in last week with a Shelbourne jersey on. I was like, did Doc or Alan or Andrew Doyle send him the jersey? Stuff like that gets me. So I kind of confronted him. I was like, where'd you get that? He goes, I bought it, Daddy. So that tugged at me. I was like, I'm going to have to do this. So, yeah.
Best of luck with it.
Thank you, Tony.
Oh, you had a question?
They were kind of answered there.
Dave?
Saying, Damien,
there's been some suggestion that maybe because you've walked away from a couple of jobs, maybe you can be a bit restless. But you mentioned there that it's building something special. Is that kind of another thing that appealed to you, that you will have a bit of time to actually get into it?
Absolutely. And listen, I am incredibly restless. I am incredibly impatient. You can ask anyone that I've probably worked with. You can ask the Shelbourne boys this year. I'm probably too hard on them because I want to hear right now for them. I want them to have the careers. But, you know, I think too much. I thought about everything. I knew I'd be asked this question. But I don't know how you prove longevity or commitment to a club. You know, I was at Shamrock Rovers as a player, obviously. And then as a coach for 18 months. I dedicated my life to 18 months to kids at Shamrock Rovers. It's never mentioned. I got stick for, you know, training at 6 o'clock in the morning and then bring them back out at 6 o'clock at night. I'd like to think they were the best days of them boys' careers so far today. I probably saw them kids more than I did my own kids, so dedicate my life to them. But I can't prove longevity by saying no to Celtic then. So if Celtic come and asked me to come and leave Shamrock Rovers 15s, everybody in the room would say yes. So I went to Celtic. Had an amazing time at Celtic. If I go back there tomorrow, I'll be welcomed back with open arms. Built amazing relationships with some special people. But when your wife and your kids are back home and your son and your daughter are asking, Daddy, forget about 8, 9 and 10, we just want you home, you come home, just like everybody else in this room. So I came home. I went to the Irish coaching gig, obviously. And again, as I touched at the start, I would have been unhappy with myself. So I'm not going to get into that today. But I'd like to think again, everybody in this room would have left the gig, which is what I did. But everywhere I've been, I'm now with Shell 17s and now the first team, I've dedicated my life to them. So longevity or impatient or always jumping ship, I actually don't when you strip it back and look at the ins and outs and the reasons. I'm incredibly dedicated. I dedicate my life to players. I'm still in touch with Celtic players. I'm still in touch with Shamrock Rovers under 15s players for help, for guidance, on and off the pitch. I tell my Shelbourne 17 players that now, on and off the pitch. I'm here till the day I die, till the day they die. If I bump into them in the street in 20 years' time, and it's going to be exactly the same with senior players, whoever they are next year. So I knew it would be asked, but I think it needed to be addressed, because to say I jump here, there, and I'm not. When I'm with players, they get the whole of Damien Duff. I give my life to them.
You said that you're fearful. What is it that you're fearful of stepping into when that was one of your issues?
Because I know it's a difficult gig. I know it's a team coming up with not one of the biggest budgets. They've been yo-yoing up and down for the past couple of years. I don't like losing games, so I don't want it to fail. I know a lot of managers, when they do fail in their first gig, they probably never get another manager's role again. But, you know, that's stuff that I'm fine with now. I'd happily be a barista. I'm halfway through my course. So if this doesn't work out, you might see me in a coffee shop. So absolutely fearful. And that's where I'm at my best. I didn't want to go to Celtic. I didn't want to go. But Stephen Bradley, Glenn Crone and Stephen MacPhail, who I have the utmost respect for, made me go. My wife made me go, and she came with the kids and moved them up. But I didn't, because I was scared. I didn't back myself. I didn't think I was a good manager, a good coach. But they made me go, and it was the most amazing time in my life. So the most amazing times, whether it be player as a coach, is when I'm uncomfortable, fearful, and out of my comfort zone. So it's very, very simple. So going into the Shells first team role, you know, is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to be comfortable? No. But it's going to give me 24/7 focus, which is what I need, because when I have an idle mind, as most people, it's not good for you.
Can you give us some details of your backroom staff?
Not at the minute. There's nothing concrete. I'm the only person that's signed, so at the minute I have the whole staff budget, so I'll be the most well-paid, I guess, manager in the land, because I'm doing assistant manager, coaches, everything. I have no staff at the moment, so yes, I've spoken to people, but it's not one of them where, and not that it happens in Ireland, it happens everywhere, where I'm bringing in mates. There's no mates. I'm big on trust, but I'm big on trustworthy staff that can bring detail and quality as well, and they're hard to find. So yes, I'm speaking to people, and I'm looking for people that I trust, but will bring detail and quality to to a squad. So that's all I can say on that. Thank you.
Damien, what do you think your philosophy is going to be if you had to picture it from the outset as manager?
Listen, I'm very, very simple. I was obviously, I'd like to think a technical player. I love keeping the ball, and when I lose it, I love getting it back. But I know football isn't as simple as that. A big worry of mine, I've told it to Alan, Doc, is listen, I don't know the league particularly well, so I will surround me with people that do know the league. And I know my philosophy will have to be adapted to League of Ireland football. But listen, the most important thing I think is to win and be successful. And even, you know, when I spoke to the board last week, I'm telling them you have to be prepared for losing games. Well, on Friday when I said no to them, it's because in my head I wasn't prepared. I know Shells will lose an awful lot of games next season. I know people will look, oh, Damien Duff, he's at Celtic Ireland, he's this, he's that. Well, I'm not. I'm bottom of the tree, you know. I'm not the best manager in the league. I have an awful lot to prove. So philosophy, listen, that might change. It might change over time. I might have to adapt next season. But I know what way football should be played. But you might have to play a different way here. I get that.
And when it comes to what you've learned, say, in the Republic of Ireland setup, what can you take from that experience that you bring to Shelbourne?
Well, listen, I've taken it from everywhere. You know, my first session with Shelbourne first team, I'll be probably using bits from Jose Mourinho from 20 years ago. So for, you know, being involved with the FAI for 8 games, yes, I'll take bits, what's right, what's wrong. But you take that from everywhere, whether it be Celtic, Roy Hodgson, Giovanni Trapattoni, Jose Mourinho. I've taken everything. So, and then it's just putting I guess, your own stamp on things. I'll never change. I'm, like I said, energetic, emotional, so the players will soon learn that. I don't try and be anything I'm not. I realise we all have egos, but I don't think I've a particularly big one. I think if I did, I wouldn't be here today. So I want to be involved with Irish football. I want to help young and old, men and women. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon because my kids are happy here, my wife is here. So Ireland's stuck with me.
Just from your, I know you took a bit of convincing maybe, but I suppose what were your requirements from the club in terms of selling it to you?
Well, listen, we had a good chat, but there was, you know, I know the way people think that I was asking them about power and probably building squads. They've been amazing since day one. Probably, you know, duffers haggling over money. It's probably late to tell them now, but I do this for free. So there's no issues with, you know, staff or requirements or anything like that. It's just me dealing probably with my demons, and every ex-footballer probably has them. But I need 24/7 focus in my life. And believe it or not, the under-17 role does give me as close to that, because like I said, when I'm in a role, I give it everything. I have a game at the weekend against Cove Ramblers in a cup final. To me, that's the biggest game in world football. At the weekend. At the minute, first team manager role with Shelbourne is the second biggest job in football. The first is being under-17 Shells manager, because at the minute I still am until Saturday afternoon. So there's absolutely no issues. The staff have been, the board, and Alan, he's been amazing. You can see his drive. I thought I'd drive, but you know, I think he's potentially on a different level to me. Telling me how he got Barcelona over to play in the St. Gavin's tournament. You know, I was going to say loitering, but it's probably the wrong word. Hanging around outside Barcelona training ground, looking to make a contact. That's unbelievable drive. So the club are lucky to have him. And what I mean by his drive is more than me. When I go to Barcelona, I probably swim in a nudist beach and drink wine and eat tapas. But that's the drive that, you know, is going to hopefully make this club great again. And I think we'll work well together. Yeah, we want it bad, and I hopefully think it will show on the pitch.
And is going full time, is that part of it as well?
It's what you call full time. My idea of an elite environment is training mornings, absolutely. It's still not, I guess, signed off on, green light, because I have the utmost respect for football in Ireland and players in Ireland, and I know they have jobs. So that's the most important thing. They have to put food on their table. But ideally, we will be training mornings, but can you class that as full time when they're maybe going off to a job in the afternoon? Maybe not, but that's part of my plan, is to train mornings, prepare well the night before, come in early, train well. And listen, I get it, you don't become rich being a football player or a coach in Ireland. Some of our squad will have to go off and work in the afternoon, I get that, and I'm highly respectful of it, so that's why I'll have to speak to players.
Dan?
Alan, actually, can I just ask Alan, is this a statement for where Shelbourne want to go over the next coming years to appoint someone like Damien?
Yeah, I just, well, it's a statement, you know, I've got a vision from a football point of view of where, you know, I've got a belief in how football should be played and how players should be developed, and like to win as well. So yeah, you know, Damien ticks them boxes. When I was sitting down and thinking about it, you know, we want to marriage the academy and the first team. We want to be successful, and we want to just keep progressing as a club. That's the main thing. We've got a plan. The club have a plan off the pitch, and you know, we've got a plan for the football. All departments. You know, the women's national league team are doing really well. Academy is doing really well. First team have done really well. So yeah, it's going along quite good.